inside.
And he does just that. Withy from the free throw line knocks it down.
Smooth move by Johnson. Good penetration. Withy just filled in behind him.
Now Iowa State needs to be careful. Cannot lose contact here early in the second half. Clyburn's going to try to get in on the inside as he did against Oklahoma, but he was sealed up by Rutherford. Dab will hoist another three. Niang comes back with an offensive rebound.
Niang jumps about an inch high.
Withy on him, muscles, misses, battle rebound, Cyclones control.
Niang did a good job of walling off Withy.
Paulo will bring it over and back. And Hoiberg is protesting that it was touched. He's looking for help on the call that it was touched by the Jayhawks. The defender, take a look here, Fran.
Yep. Old Terry Oglesby said he didn't see it. It looked like Elijah Johnson touched that ball, didn't it?
No question. Don't get me started.
Yeah, the officials were quick to make that call.
Ellis flashes paint.
Wow, he knows Edgham's in foul trouble with two. Went right at him. That's smart. I think both teams have to play this game from inside out right now.
Niang coming through. Drives for the hoop. That was a strong move by the freshman. Quickly at the other end, it's Relaford goes down. Picked up by McLemore. Now Relaford seems to be shaken up. Withy misses. Edgham rebounds.
Bill Self's wondering what Jeff Withy was thinking right there. A long two.
Niang off the front of the iron into Withy's hands.
A lot of contact both ways, both teams.
A rejection, blocked by Paulo. Clyburn saves it, but he double dribble. And Coach Hoiberg cannot be happy with what he's seeing here in this game right now.
You're watching Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
First of two semifinals, and in the next game, Oklahoma State will be playing at Kansas State in the nightcap here in Kansas City. That could be another tough physical game. We had 15 fouls called in the first half, and here in the first 5 minutes of the second half, only one foul, Frank.
Well, it's interesting, Brent. At halftime, everybody should regroup, players, coaches, and officials. I feel the first 4 minutes of the second half, way too much contact both ways. They've missed a couple calls, you understand that, but in terms of the physicality of the game, cuts, banging inside, this next 4 minutes, very important for the three officials to get a hold of this basketball game.
You saw Corey Lucius put on his sweat, so he's not returning to the game anytime soon. Over the top, no. McGee rebounds for the Cyclones. Paulo, the youngster from Ames, will run the point. McGee, shooting guard, Babb along with him, the defensive stopper. Edgham and the freshman Niang, and that's your 5 on the floor now for Fred Hoiberg, and he traveled.
Niang trying to sneak underneath Withy with a little up and under. John Higgins said he moved his pivot foot. Not much argument.
It's got to be frustrating for Hoiberg in this game, how things have gone.
Yeah. You know, and he's a guy that keeps his composure.
His team has turned it over 12 times, 4 of them this half now. Here's Ellis, who has played very, very well. Tharp, who had those 6 assists off the bench, now running the point for Coach Self. Gives it back to a charging Withy.
Good play. Little pick and roll. Tried to get it inside first.
Edge drives. Nice response.
You know, when you're 6'6" and you've been undersized your whole career, you know how to play against bigger guys. You could, perfect example right there of knowing the angle of the backboard.
Ellis moves on Edgem, and he responds. The offensive leader, as far as Kansas is concerned.
Well, what a jump he's made since early in the year. McDonald's All-American.
McGee gets in. No whistle. Niang offensive rebound. His scoop fails. And Holly, what's the report on Kevin Young?
Well, he's been back in the locker room for quite a while. He came out and he's been back in this behind-the-scenes tunnel area doing some sprints. The athletic trainer, Bill Cowgill, actually had him do some side-to-side lateral movement to make sure he could quickly move. He appears to be fine, and he's joining the Jayhawks back on the bench.
Yeah, he just walked in and taken a seat over there. You can see in the background, Holly. Thank you. Tharp goes to Johnson, and Elijah's long ball misses, but with the right man, right place, and drew the foul.
Good execution by Kansas. Ran the offense down. Got Johnson the shot. And this is just a good bounce right here. Kept alive by McLemore with him.
No pain in that ankle when Withy responds like that.
Tell you what, when Young went out, Brent, Perry Ellis has picked up the slack. I mean, they have not missed a beat, and Young was the guy early in this game that got them going.
Ellis is 6 of 7 from the floor, a total of 12 points. And now Traylor will give Withy a break here.
You know Ellis is a class valedictorian, and Bill Self told him 2 months ago, if you don't get more aggressive, I'm just not going to play you. And the guy learns quickly.
Everything with the Jayhawks starts with their defense, and their defense has done an outstanding job here. Iowa State is only 4 of 20 shooting the three. Over the top, Lucius turns it over again. There's Tharp wisely pulling it back outside now. Here's Tharp. He'll kick it inside. Drives all the way for the layup. The point guard of the future for the Jayhawks. And the point guard could be coming right now in the next few weeks. We'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. The Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And here in this half, Kansas has outscored Iowa State 20-8, and a very frustrated Coach Fred Hoiberg. About as emotional as you will ever see the coach. Watch. Coach Knight might say that's no way to throw a chair.
No, I agree. I'd give that a 2.4 on a 10 scale right there.
But I understand his frustration. This Kansas called for the foul that time, and it's going to be on Ellis. And Holly, what did he have to say to the team?
Well, he was frustrated, as you saw, and he said, guys, we can't play this way. We've got to find a way to pull together. Remember, after their last Kansas loss, they went down and lost to Oklahoma. After that game, as we see Bab miss, they had a team meeting. The players had to air their grievances. They thought there were too many personal agendas going on. Some of the seniors, Chris Babb, some of the other guys told me we had to get all the air out and come back on the same page. And it looks like that might be creeping up right now. They got to find a way to pull together.
Well, Booker responds with a field goal, and the young man he really needs to take flight here is Corey Lucius. He has not scored in 2 games in this Big 12 championship. Number 13, a very, very important point guard. He's out here defensively now in the zone up on top.
And they can obviously use Will Clyburn's scoring as well, Brent. Little zone now by Iowa State.
Traylor. And he rips it apart.
Sure did. Right in the middle of that zone. You don't really fool Kansas too much. They're really prepared for everything.
Now it's a foul on Traylor. But the one thing that stands out about the Jayhawks is their field goal defense. Simply one of the best in the country. And Bill Self has always had it that way, holding the Cyclones to 41 points. They're 4 of 20 shooting the 3 against this Kansas defense. And we've got a timeout. The Jayhawks in control.
Headed out of town for those big away games? Then book a clean, comfortable room for the lowest price of any national chain at Motel 6. That's what you call a classic layup. Count it. We'll leave the light on for you. Official economy lodging partner of the Big 12.
As the name might suggest, Phillips 66 is a proud sponsor of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. Both start with Phillips 66 and both stand for performance. Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. Rebound by McLemore.
Well, I can't agree with you more about that half-court defense, Brent. Bill Self's never had a team that's given up over 40% from the field.
Tharp loses control. Here comes Lucius with his back. Dish off. Booker gives it back, and now Lucius will bring it out. There's that defensive work again, and Babb can't respond. Now Lucius wide open with Withy jumping at him, and Lucius's first field goal in 2 games, and it is huge.
Let's see if that gets him going a little bit.
Now we mentioned Clyburn. He had that 17 yesterday that Fran told you about. He has only 3 today, so these are 2 important cogs, and they're both on the floor for the Cyclones.
I think most impressively, they've taken the 3-point away. 31 threes in the first 2 games the Cyclones have made.
Foul is going to be called on Iowa State.
Well, you got Young hurt, Ellis getting a rest. You know what's interesting about Traylor and McLemore, Brent? Remember last year as Kansas improved, got to the Final Four? These 2 guys made so much, they made practices so much better a year ago, and they got better. McLemore a little slower developing than, Traylor a little slower developing.
Booker, by the way, has 3 personal fouls right now. But it is Edgem who's going to take a seat, and Niang checks in. Traylor knocks down another free throw. It's 59-44. Jayhawks in control.
Jeff Withy does not have a blocked shot tonight.
Lucius gets a pick, gives it back to Niang, and here's Babb. Tried to get into Booker. They did. Double. Withy is there. Stays with it. Booker comes back with the left hand and scores.
That's a good effort by Anthony Booker. He gave him good minutes in Ames against the big guy.
Here's Withy, pick and roll, and he's on the free throw line. Niang. No, let's check that. Check it. It's a charge. It's going against Withy.
Had a little deja vu here, Brent, from the first game. Watch Niang. Outside the restricted arc.
Good position.
Yeah.
No question about it. That's 3 now on Jeff Withy.
It's a foul I wouldn't really mind on Withy right there, because you don't want to take away his aggressiveness. 3 is okay with this much time.
Dangerous pass. Clyburn picks it up. Rutherford's all over it.
That's a foul, so you got to call that. That's too much contact out here.
So he hoists the 3 and drains it. Now Clyburn cuts it to 10. Self will look down the bench. He's going to bring the freshman back. Ellis is going to come back after this timeout.
Fred Herberg's complaining about that contact. That was right in front of us, Brent. That's why I say both ways you've got to make sure that you keep this game under control.
Yeah, Rutherford hasn't picked up a foul yet in this game. very active defensively. Well, Fran, let's take a look at today's Wendy's Wooden Watch as we come to that time of the year. And there are the finalists from the Big 12. What do you make of McLemore, Marcus Smart, who we'll see the next game, and Withy?
Well, we saw how aggressive Ben McLemore was yesterday. He has not been able to get it going today, obviously. That's been his MO all season long. A couple great games, an off game where he's not aggressive. Marcus Smart, what can you say about him? He's been fabulous all year, and a big reason why Oklahoma State, to me, Brent, is a team that could get to the Elite Eight. They're that good.
So Ellis is back on the floor for the Jayhawks. Lead's been trimmed to 10. They were once up by 16. Withy stays on the floor with the 3. Kicks back now to Elijah Johnson. Here's McLemore. He'll hit the Withy. Not there, but a tap by Ellis, not good. Rebounds it again, though, and gave him a fresh shot clock set.
Another great possession by Perry Ellis. What a game for the freshman.
Rutherford drives through. Battle for the rebound. Rutherford comes away again. Kansas plays keep away.
Like hockey, they can't clear the zone, Iowa State.
Withy turns baseline, can't score, and out of bounds. Iowa State was touching the ball as it went out. Edgem is going to have to come back because he's the best rebounder on the Iowa State team, and he checks right back in now.
I'll tell you who's doing a good job also bashing those boards has been this guy, the youngster from Wichita.
On this possession alone, 4 offensive rebounds for the Jayhawks.
And you can bet they're going to utilize this clock and get a great shot.
Got it down to 8 minutes now with a 10-point lead.
Oh, nice.
Puts it inside to Ellis. Just in time for March Madness.
Iowa State not realizing Ellis was lurking behind the zone.
Clyburn swings and twists, but there was a foul. This goes against Rutherford. That's his first. Well, you can watch this young man Ellis now. He is 7 of 9 from the field, leading Kansas off the bench with 14 points. Right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. We're going to take a look at our 6th man of the game, brought to you by Motel 6, Fran, and no question about this one.
Been tremendous today. The young man from Wichita has been on Bill Self's radar since his freshman year. It's been good inside and out. The aggressiveness has come as the year has gone on. Great ball movement by Kansas versus that zone. And watch Ellis lurking behind. Slips in. Good pass by Elijah Johnson.
Iowa State has even struggled for the free throw line. After missing 4 in a row, they finally hit one. And I want to remind everybody that the attendance for today's session has set a Big 12 championship record. 19,160 here today. And they'll stick around for game 2 between Oklahoma State and Kansas State. And that'll be following this game. Winner, of course, advances to tomorrow afternoon's championship game.
Just remember how quick Iowa State can score with those threes.
Johnson loads Ellis again. Nothing to it. Perry Ellis. And there's 16 points for the youngster off the bench here today. 63-51. Clyburn misfires, and McLemore battles for the rebound. And hits a 3 at the other end. The Jayhawks smarting just a bit because the Iowa State fans, thinking that they should have won the first 2, had a joke that said it's very hard to beat a team 3 straight times in one season. And I think the Jayhawks took that little humor personally.
And I think the players did too. They understand that Iowa State's players thought they won the first 2 games. And I was serious when we started this game. Travis Relaford particularly said, okay, you want us a 3rd time? You got us.
Let's take a look at some potential finalists for our Capital One Cup Impact Performance of the week.
Well, Pierre Jackson was brilliant in the second half, almost bringing Baylor back. And LeBrian Nash, who's going to be a key guy in this tournament for Travis Ford, played equally as well. Not quite as well on the scoreboard, but dominated inside.
So log on to CapitalOneCup.com. Vote for this week's Impact Performance. Niang gives him a 3.
That's good coaching right there. Fred Hoiberg out of those timeouts. You know, Brent, so many possessions in an NBA season. You got to run good stuff to get your best players open. Freddie Hoiberg is good as anybody at that.
Johnson feeds Withy low, whips it down, and the young man flushes.
Jeff Withy so comfortable now with those double teams. He recognized Ellis was going to be open.
Lucius feeds it behind him, and Edgen is knocked down. Foul is going to be called on Elijah Johnson. You know, Perry Ellis now with a career high. The 18 points.
Well, the last one you and I could have made. That's how open he was. Great pass by Jeff Withy.
Might not have been shooting it down on the net.
No, that's true. Just got to lay it in. But the product of good ball movement tonight.
They're doing a fabulous job, the Jayhawks are, defensively on McGee. He's 2 of 6 from the field. And he's a young man that Hoiberg counts on when you're trailing like this for some firepower.
Oh, remember how easily Iowa State scored as a team in both the first 2 meetings.
Both overtime victories by the Jayhawks. A little full court press. Relaford brings it up.
Relaford looked at the shot clock, realized he had to get it over quickly. That's a 50-year guy.
And they've turned it over. So they force a 5-second violation, and it'll be Cyclone basketball looking to try and cut this down to single digits, give themselves that one final run, friend, that you always talk about at this point.
Especially because they can shoot the long ball. You think about it, 2 threes, they're back in it.
Niang puts it on the deck and scores and draws the foul. Another talented freshman that we're going to be seeing in the Big 12 next year.
We have loved watching this guy play. Take a look, and he shoots this with his right hand, but just the ability to get that ball from the perimeter off the dribble on Withy, hang in the air, draws that contact.
2 fouls on Ellis. And look what we've got here.
Now you need a stop or 2 if you're the Cyclones.
McLemore quickly brings it across the timeline. Fans on both sides sense that this is it now at the 5-minute mark. Elijah kicks it Withy and one.
Corey Lucius pressured the ball so hard, Elijah Johnson had no choice but to drive it. Take a look, and that brings the help. Withy scores at the rim.
Niang picks up number 3. Withy adds the free throw. That's 13 points for Jeff Withy. Niang puts it down, drives on Withy, and kicks it back, deflected by Relaford out of bounds.
Once again, Travis Relaford in the right place. There you see the numbers last 2 nights. Of course, you get the conference tournament play, Brent, especially in this league where everybody's played each other twice already. You get accustomed to styles of play.
Niang knocks down another 3-ball. Pulls them back to within 9.
Well, that's all well and good, but they need some stops.
And Hoiberg telling them just that. He's up now. Withy on that high pick and roll stays outside. Relaford comes around him again. Tharp goes inside to Ellis. And one. Edgem. A monster performance by the young man from Wichita.
This basket, Brent, is about their system. Watch him seal to the inside. This is a great post feed right here. It's going to be to the corner of the board. Well done.
A 20-point game off the bench. And remember, Kevin Young nursing that injury. He has not reported back in. Ellis has certainly picked up the slack and some. And here's McGee now. Fires a 3 and he makes it. That's what the young man can do.
Now again, Iowa State starting to heat up, but none of this matters if they can't get some defensive stops.
Tharp on the floor. McLemore bounces off Niang and scores. Lucius will put it on the deck. Lob. And it'll go back to the Kansas Jayhawks. So a spirited rally by Iowa State, but as Fran pointed out, can't gain much ground if you can't stop them at the other end. Timeout.
Tonight's Big 12 Network game has been brought to you by Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. By Dick's Sporting Goods, every season starts at Dick's. By Vonage, sounds good. By Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. And by Red's Apple Ale, branch out.
So, Fran, let's take a look at our quick stats brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Well, I think the three-point shooting. Remember, first 2 games, Iowa State made 31 threes. They shot over 50%. Kansas has been ready today. They've stretched that defense out to the three-point line, and they've basically bottled up that Cyclone perimeter game.
76-65 with 3:43 left in regulation.
Kansas always a good clock team in these situations.
Johnson keeps it, gives Withy charging in again, and a blocking foul is going to be called. It's on Niang, who's down. That's number 4.
Elijah Johnson did a really good job. That perimeter game, they moved the ball side to side, recognizing the clock goes low. He gets into the lane, makes the play for the big fella.
Tyrus McGee, incidentally, with 2 3-point field goals here today, has gone past a former legend who played at Iowa State, his coach. That's right, Freddie Hoiberg had 89 back in 1995. And with the 2 today, McGee now has 90 this season.
What's that former legend stuff? He's still a legend. Oh, but you maybe lose 1 game, you're not a legend anymore?
No more. What have you done for me lately? You know how these business works.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how about this? They're going to be hard to guard in the NCAA tournament.
There's no question.
Oh, because you don't see this style the way they play.
Edgem jumps out, knocks the ball out of bounds, and Self has to quickly step away.
Bill Self's a little calmer than he was midway through the first half.
Yes, he was. Wonder if that one Iowa State fan will be looking for him again after this game. And on the reception, foul's going to be called. Is that Edgem again? Yes, it is.
Well, Lou Gehrig, I mean, Perry Ellis is going to go to the line because Kevin Young may be Wally Pitt.
Indeed.
The guy that was the first baseman for the Yankees missed the game one day, right? What, 21?
Absolutely.
2100 plus.
Ellis's future looks bright indeed. But let's give Kevin Young some credit, because when they were struggling early in this game, fell down by about a half dozen points. It was Kevin Young who kept them in the middle of his activity.
No question. The power forward spot today for Kansas has been outstanding. No doubt about it.
It's hard to defend Kansas with Withy and the power forwards operating like they have today, because you've got two very effective big men. Niang rattles out, and McGee underneath turns it over. So it will be Jayhawk basketball in control. Last year, Bill Self did not play in the Big 12 championship game, eliminated by Baylor in the semifinal. Missouri, of course, won that championship. But if they hold on here, they'll go to tomorrow's title game against the winner of the Kansas State-Oklahoma State game. Jayhawks swept Kansas State this year, but they split 2 games with Oklahoma State. Lost a tough one in Lawrence. McLemore tracks it down. We're down to 2.5 minutes.
I think there'll be motivation for the Jayhawks with both opponents sharing that Big 12 title with the Wildcats.
Elijah, 82-65. And Withy tracks it down, stolen underneath, and Withy commits a personal foul on Edgem.
Personal foul number 4, team number 7. Calvin Edgem.
2 minutes from advancing to the Big 12 championship game. Time now, Fran, for our Interstate Batteries drive of the game.
Elijah Johnson feeling the pressure from Corey Lucius, got to the rim, got the big fella, an easy basket inside. Elijah Johnson, who was so good at the end of last season, into the Final Four run for the Jayhawks. And remember, Brent, we saw him get 39 at Ames. Followed that up the next 2 games with 22 assists.
Full court press. It'll be Johnson who will bring it up. Rutherford helps.
You know, I never meant that as a slam to Elijah Johnson, that he's not a pure point guard. I've always thought of him more as a scorer, but he's had to become one with this team.
Stolen. Lucius. 82-69, 1:43 to go. Pressure the rest of the way. Tap to McLemore, wide open with and he turned it over. Too far in front of him. And Bill Self quickly checked that clock to see what the score was on that turnover. He knows that a 3 here can pull him back to within 10 with a minute and a half. Strange things can happen in a basketball game. And right now, Self wants a timeout.
That's just a freshman mistake. He's got a couple freshmen on the floor right now.
And the other thing about the Jayhawks, should they win the Big 12 championship tomorrow, and still there's a long way to go, remember this, they could wind up with a 1 seed. They're sitting solidly with a 2 seed right now, according to Joey Brackett's, our friend Joe Lenardi. And there are his 1 seed: Duke, Indiana, Gonzaga, and Louisville. Now, Duke was upset by Maryland today, so that becomes a shaky 1 over there with the Jayhawks on this side: Georgetown, Kansas, Miami, and Ohio State. So stay tuned. And Georgetown beaten by Syracuse. So the Jayhawks put themselves in pretty good shape here this afternoon.
And not only the seed important, but they're going to be able to drive back here to Kansas City next week.
McGee fires deep three. Wasn't there, and McLemore went after that rebound after turning the ball over. And Elijah's going to come up to the free throw line. Lucius fouls him.
I think, Brent, that Kansas State will also be here next week, but as part of a different pod.
Exactly. They'll be in a different region.
Absolutely. Different region, but remember the way the pod system works. You can have 2 different regions.
The NCAA is going to be very impressed by this number, 19,160. That's the crowd here today in this arena. And both the Jayhawks and the Wildcats scoring, so they could have a big crowd. Those two are in different pods coming in here, which means they will not play each other again. But they could draw their faithful, and this has just been a huge, enthusiastic crowd. In fact, both of the previous days, I thought the crowd absolutely tremendous.
You know, it reminds me of the old Big 8. You know, the way the Iowa State fans have been able to drive down I-35, Kansas and Kansas State, both very good. Makes you think of guys like Johnny Orr and, you know, Norm Stewart when he was at Mizzou, and Jack Hartman, Lon Kruger, Ted Owens, Larry Brown.
McGee flashes again, misfiring, and the battle for the rebound, and it was bad. Digs it out. Niang will go to the corner, and Lucius is short. Now final minute. Jayhawks cleaning it up now. Running down some time, and they'll be back on a free throw line with Relaford. Now, for those of you wondering about Iowa State, they're going to go on. They're going to move on to the NCAA tournament under Coach Fred Hoiberg. And whoever draws them, beware. This is not an easy team to get ready for. I know they haven't played their best game here today, but they were matched against a team that had a little something to prove against them. Still smarting from the fact that people said, oh, you should have lost those 2 games.
No, I agree. I agree. And remember, the way they shoot the 3 and spread you out, it's hard to simulate that as you get ready for them. Kansas has played them 3 times. They know their style. And they're like a home run hitter, Brent. When they make threes, they can beat anybody.
Of course, a year ago at this time, I was saying, beware Missouri. You know, and how'd that work out, folks? I'm still sorry about that I blew up all those brackets.
Well, you know, Kyle O'Quinn at Norfolk State on St. Patrick's Day. Come on.
You're exactly right. How can you beat him on that day? There's McGee, strong offensive player, just a nice basketball player, actually. But he gives up the 6-man mantle today to a young Perry Ellis of the Jayhawks, because he certainly led this team. Still on the bench in cleanup time here with the final 30 seconds. And Kansas will head on to the Big 12 championship game again.
Well, Freddie Hoiberg's done a great coaching job.
I'll bet you that Johnson does not take it in and slam it this time.
But they have to shoot it.
So it'll be Tharp. He'll score. Johnson was out at the midcourt line. He wanted no part of that. 88-71. Lucius underneath Edgem, and McLemore goaltending. So score that field goal for Edgem. And Hoiberg and the Iowa State coaches go down, shake hands. Bill Self returns to the championship game. I believe, Fran, it's 3 times in the last 4 years, missing only last year if my memory serves me.
Not a big surprise when you see the Jayhawks back here in the championship game.
And remember them come bracket time, folks. This is one of the better teams in the country, especially with Perry Ellis. Remarkable job, Fran, that he did here today in this game with 23.
Absolutely. And we watched the maturation, Brent, all season long of Perry Ellis, the way he stepped up. Take a look as he fills into an open area. And he gave them some offense that Kevin Young normally doesn't. And Kevin Young outstanding today, but Perry Ellis with a career game coming at a perfect time. Pass to Withy, watch the double team, and he's going to slip to the rim. And he really was impressive today.
No surprise who our Geico player of this game was. 10 of 12 from the field, taken away Holly Rowe.
Well, Perry Ellis when Kevin went down with that ankle injury and was out for a while. What was going through your head about how to contribute?
I mean, I've done it a couple games before. He got in foul trouble a couple games. I just try to come in and just attack the team, and just try to do what the coaches tell me, just attack the goal.
You told me earlier this year this has been a tough mental process changing to this college level game. What makes you feel like you've got it now?
I would say it started in practice, winter break. I really try to play it my hardest in practice and just try to go from there, and I started picking up. Every game, I became more comfortable and more comfortable, so it just kept picking up.
Thanks so much. It was picking up tonight.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Brent?
Thanks, Holly. And once again, our final score, Kansas 88, Iowa State 73. And so the Jayhawks move on to tomorrow afternoon's championship game. It'll be 5 o'clock Kansas City time, 6 o'clock for you fans in the East. Big Saturday. And coming up in 30 minutes, Oklahoma State and Kansas State. But first, we're going to send you to Doug Bell and Brendan Manzer with the Principal Financial Big 12 Championship update right after this break.
All right, here we go. And welcome everyone to the Principal Financial Group Big 12 Championship update from Studio 66. The Kansas Jayhawks advance to the championship game here in Kansas City for the 10th time in 17 years of the Big 12 Championship. They'll play the winner tomorrow night of Oklahoma State and Kansas State coming up here in the semifinals. Bill Self joins us now. Coach, a terrific defensive effort from your team. What was the strategy going into the game tonight?
Well, we had to basically take away threes, and we did a great job. They only shot 33, so we didn't do a good job there. You know, when you play Iowa State, I think you almost have to hope sometimes they don't hit shots, and they got on a little roll there the second half. But for the most part, we were able to kind of neutralize what they do best and still yet shrink the floor where they couldn't just penetrate and pitch. And so we stayed with shooters. They beat us on some drives, but I thought the big key was rebounding the ball, and we did a great job rebounding the ball the first half when we played out of foul trouble.
McLemore and Withy on the bench first half with 2 fouls. You get great bench production. Tharp was great. Ellis was great in the first and second half. What do you think about their play?
And Traylor was great. And you know, our bench, you know, if our bench plays like that, we got a chance to be pretty good. And it's been pretty inconsistent. But Perry Ellis was off the charts good tonight. And obviously Jamari played well, and of course Nadir gave us some good minutes. But you know, once we got into a flow of the second half, we were able to get the ball inside.
Coach, you've won 9 of 10 since that 3-game losing streak. You seem to be getting it together now at the perfect time. Would you agree you're playing your best right now?
I hope so. You know, Kevin hurt his calf, and so I don't know what Kevin's situation will be tomorrow. And of course, health is so important this time of year. But you know, we went through a bad rut when we weren't any good, and then we got pretty good and won some close games, and then we laid an egg in Waco, and they whipped us pretty good. And I think it was probably another good wake-up call. You can only have so many of those that are good a year, and we've had 3 or 4 of them. But hopefully that kind of motivate us coming into this week.
Coach, the light came on, as you mentioned, for Perry Ellis. 23 points in 28 minutes on just 12 shots. I know you like that. 6 boards added to that as we look at some highlights. What did you like most out of him tonight?
He was aggressive. You know, Perry is a guy that we get on every day. He's aggressive to drive it. You know, he's a good athlete. He's got good ball skills, and he's got a really soft touch. And, you know, sometimes when he just puts the ball up around the rim, it just finds a way to go in. And, you know, they were keying on Jeff, and he also benefited from Jeff making a couple of good passes to him.
You know, Coach, you start 4 seniors. 3 of the guys are 5th-year seniors. Yeah. And in an environment like tonight that was emotionally charged, I think that's an advantage. They've been through so many.
Well, I don't think it was an advantage to start the game. I thought we weren't very good to start. They were more ready to play the first 4 minutes than we were. But a lot of times the game doesn't start until that under 16 timeout or that under 12 timeout. And well, we really kind of keyed it for us was getting it from 12-4 to 12-11 by the under 12 timeout. And then after that, we kind of got a little rhythm and played very, very well.
Coach, tomorrow night, it's going to be a very good Oklahoma State team, very good K-State team. How do you get ready for either one?
Well, they're both good. And you know, we're not going to practice before the game, so all we'll do is just talk about it. We'll do a brief scout tonight, but bottom line is, you know, we labored beating Kansas State a couple of times, and Oklahoma State beat us at our place, and we won a squeaker at their place. And so no matter who we're playing, it'll be a terrific contest.
Now, Bill, we're going to roll what happened in the first half, that emotional sequence when Ben got the technical and then later the bench got the technical. Here's the shot, and then he runs by the bench, and the technical is called for taunting. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, I don't know everything, and I shouldn't comment on officiating, especially when I haven't seen. That's the first time I've seen anything, but every time Ben makes a three, which a lot of players in American does, he does the three sign and puts it down his leg, and he said he didn't say anything. And the official told me, I don't know if he said anything or not, but he looked at the bench. And you know, I'm all for sportsmanship, but I don't know if it's bad sportsmanship if you look at the bench too. So it was, the thing about it is in tonight's game, and I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent, this was an emotional game because of the games that we played with Iowa State already. We had to play with unbelievable emotion to match their emotion.
Right.
And so I think it was just guys fired up. I don't think it had any bearing on sportsmanship or how the game was played, but certainly the call was made, and then I acted like an idiot after that. But I guess that happens every now and then, hopefully not that often.
Well, Coach, congratulations, 28 victories. You're in the finals again. Have you put to bed the camo uniforms? Are they?
What's that?
Are the camo uniforms in bed now for the rest of the year, or are you going to pull them out?
What's that on
the newfangled uniforms you wore last night?
They're done. They're done. I didn't think they looked bad, though. But we're a very traditional, history-rich school, so I doubt we go that direction again.
Bill, thanks.
All right, guys.
Thanks, way to go.
All right.
You saw the bracket there, and again, Kansas will play the winner of Kansas State and Oklahoma State tomorrow night. That tip time is coming up shortly after 10 Eastern. When we come back, the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, Bob Bowlesby.